AEW's latest pay-per-view takes place this Sunday, and at this point, it isn't really a stretch to think Revolution might end up being amongst the best wrestling shows by the end of the year. Anyway, I'm Pommy Wrestling, and these are my predictions for the 9 announced matches. To start, we have Riho and Thunder Rosa vs Britt Baker and Rebel on the buy-in. This was a very late addition to the card, and I highly doubt Rebel will pick up any kind of win, so this should be an easy victory for the face team. Let's start the main card with the Face of the Revolution ladder match for a TNT title shot. This is a rather difficult match to predict since I could genuinely see most of these guys win, so let's break things down. Max Caster is the least established guy in the match, making him the least likely winner. Cody Rhodes was the last champion, and I think it's too soon for a Cody vs Darby rematch. Lance Archer has gotten a ton of screen time in the past month, and I'd really like to see what Archer and Darby could do after seeing Archer vs Fenix, but I feel he'll be a part of the world title scene instead. Scorpio Sky hasn't been in action in a while, but has always been a guy AEW tries to push, making him at the very least a dark horse. Penta El Zero Miedo is coming back from a few weeks of inactivity, and after seeing Pac and Fenix teaming up, seems likely to start working mainly as a single star. However, there's still one last name that will be revealed at the pay-per-view, who could be anyone from an AEW talent to a guest appearance from Impact or New Japan. My main pick is Pentagon, but if someone like Chris Bay or Kenta shows up, I think they would come out victorious. Next, there's the clash between Hangman Adam Page and Matt Hardy. The tale of Hangman continues being among the best stories told on a weekly basis, and this short feud with Big Money Matt is another great chapter. I don't expect the match to blow me away or anything, but assuming Private Party, TH2 and the Dark Order get involved, it should be a very entertaining bout. As for the result, I could see Hardy winning and sending Page farther in his downward spiral, but it feels like it's time for him to get a genuine feel-good moment on pay-per-view, even if it doesn't last long. Then we have Sting and Darby Allin facing Ricky Starks and Brian Cage in a street fight. This rivalry took a long while to really get going, with weeks and weeks of not much happening. However, in the final stretch they really picked it up with a series of top-notch segments that finally confirmed Sting can get physical. It's Sting's first match since 2015, so I think it's fair to say AEW will go all out with this one. I really like Team Taz, but there's absolutely no way they are picking up the victory. Later on, we have the Casino Tag Team Royale. I'll quickly go through the teams that are least likely to win, which include Bear Country, The Butcher and the Blade, Top Flight, and Santana and Ortiz. Then we have Uno and Grayson and Silver and Reynolds, representing the Dark Order, who could pick up the win and start a feud with the Bucks alongside Hangman Page. There's also Private Party, who could make great title challengers after their recent heel turn. And finally, we have Pac and Rey Fenix teaming as Triángulo de la Muerte, who became kind of favorites after their showcase on this week's Dynamite. Out of the announced participants, I'm picking Pac and Fenix, but assuming a bunch more teams will join the fray, I think SCU could win to continue their last ride storyline. There's also Miedo and Kip Sabian vs Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor. This is probably my least anticipated match on the card, and it's by no fault of its own. From a lack of TV time to Kip and Trent both suffering injuries, it felt like this rivalry barely moved from the engagement all the way to the wedding. It seems like this match will be the ending, but that depends on the result. I think no matter what, Miedo will get the last laugh, so I'm going for a Kassidy and Chucky T victory that leads into Miedo defeating Kassidy on Dynamite. Coming next, Hikaru Shida defends the AEW Women's World title against the winner of the Championship Eliminator Tournament, Ryo Mizunami. This is by far the most setup the women's title has had since its inception, and despite a bunch of the tournament not airing on Dynamite, it's the biggest sign we've had of this division finally moving in a positive direction. Under most circumstances, I'd bet on Shida retaining, but it will be kind of a disservice to have his first ever international tournament only to have the winner fall at the last hurdle. So, I think Ryo Mizunami will beat Shida and become the new women's champion. After that, the Young Bucks take on Chris Jericho and MJF for the AEW World Tag Titles. This feud doesn't feel nearly as well developed as it probably should, with them just starting to interact in the last couple of weeks. There were a number of segments that tried to put Jericho and MJF as realistic contenders. A great tag match against Santana and Ortiz, a solid segment with Papa Buck, and a great press conference in the Go Home show. However, my mind was made up since the match was announced, and after Sammy Guevara's departure, I'm very confident the Bucks will retain, leading into a major power shift in the inner circle during the bout's fallout. And finally, Kenny Omega will fight Jon Moxley for the AEW World Title. There's a lot to be said about this rivalry, how it's practically the first storyline in AEW history, going all the way back to Double or Nothing 2019, and how Omega's heel turn and title win might be one of the most important turning points in AEW's history so far. However, I think it's fair to say all the attention is on the fact this is an exploding barbed wire deathmatch, a stipulation most modern fans have never seen, and even if one is not into hardcore wrestling, the name alone creates so much intrigue. Expectations are all over the place on how far they are willing to go, and I personally think they'll do everything in their power to properly represent this stipulation, and end with something crazy to write Moxley off of TV for a long time. Omega is undoubtedly retaining. His story is just starting, and this is just the first pit stop. Do you agree with my choices? Leave a comment down below with your predictions for Revolution. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter @TommyWrestling for any update. That's all for now. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, see ya!